I want you to imagine the sound of pure terror. November 8th, 2010. A quiet street in Markham, Ontario. A young woman dials 911. Her voice is trembling, breathless. She tells the operator that armed men have broken into her home. She screams that she is tied up upstairs. She screams that she can hear gunshots in the basement. To anyone listening, this sounds like the worst nightmare imaginable. It sounds like a daughter watching her world collapse. But here is the chilling reality that makes this case one of the most disturbing in Canadian history. When you listen closely to that tape, something is off. The fear is a performance. The tears are manufactured. The woman on the phone, 24-year-old Jennifer Pan, isn't a victim. She is the director of a play she wrote herself. While she was begging the operator for help, she knew exactly what was happening in the basement. She knew who the men were. She knew why they were there. And most terrified of all, she knew that the only way for her perfect life to begin was for her parents' lives to end. How does a golden child, a straight-A student, and a pianist become a cold-blooded executioner? To understand the why, we have to peel back the layers of the Pan family. Han and Beach Ha Pan were refugees from Vietnam. They came to Canada with absolutely nothing and built a small empire through sheer grinding hard work. They wanted the best for their children. But in the Pan household, the best wasn't just a goal, it was a requirement, a survival tactic. Jennifer was raised to be a trophy: figure skating, piano lessons, straight A's. For a while she kept up, but in high school the cracks started to show. She was average, and for a Tiger parent, average is synonymous with failure. So Jennifer made a choice that would define the next decade of her life. She stopped trying to be perfect and started trying to look perfect. It started with a report card in grade 8. She forged a mark. It worked. The relief was addictive. By the time she was supposed to go to university, the lies had become her reality. She didn't get into Ryerson University. She was rejected. But she couldn't face her father's disappointment, so she lied. She said she got in. For 4 years, Jennifer Pan woke up every morning, packed her bag, and pretended to go to class. She didn't go to campus. She went to the public library. She sat there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. She researched what she was supposed to be learning. She bought secondhand textbooks. She even filled notebooks with fake lecture notes just in case her parents checked. When it came time to graduate, she told her parents there were not enough tickets for them to attend the ceremony. Think about the psychological state required to maintain that level of deceit. Every dinner conversation was a minefield. Every question from her father was a potential bomb. She was living in a prison of her own making, terrified that one slip-up would destroy everything. And then she met Daniel Wong. Daniel Wong was everything her parents hated. He was a drug dealer. He had a record. He was the escape Jennifer craved. When the house of cards finally collapsed, when her parents discovered she hadn't graduated, that she was working at a pizza place, and that she was seeing Daniel, the punishment was severe. She was 24 years old, but she was placed under what was effectively house arrest. No phone, no laptop, no car. Her father told her to sever all contact with Daniel or she would be disowned. For Jennifer, this was the breaking point. She felt she had lost everything. The golden child was dead. The mask was shattered. In her fractured mind, she saw only two paths. Path 1, accept her life, leave Daniel and live under her parents' thumb forever. Or Path 2, remove the obstacles. And to Jennifer Pan, her parents were no longer people. They were obstacles. She didn't snap in a moment of passion. This wasn't a crime of rage. It was a cold, calculated business transaction. She and Daniel began to plot. They contacted 3 hitmen. The price for her parents' lives? $10,000. That is what a lifetime of sacrifice was worth to her. $10,000. The night of November 8th plays out like a horror movie. But remember, the horror was scripted. Jennifer unlocked the front door before going to bed. She waited. At 10 p.m., she flicked the lights, the signal that the coast was clear. 3 men, led by a hitman named Homeboy, stormed the house. They dragged Han and Beach Pan from their beds. They demanded money. But this was just theater, a show put on to make it look like a robbery. They took the parents down to the basement. At the same time, they took Jennifer and tied her to the banister on the top floor. This was her alibi. How could I be involved? I was tied up. But police later noted that her hands were tied comfortably in front of her with a shoelace that she could easily have slipped out of. In the basement, the tragedy unfolded. Beach Pan, the mother who had pushed her daughter so hard, begged the gunman. But she didn't beg for her own life. Witnesses say she begged them not to hurt her daughter. Please, don't hurt my daughter. Those were her last thoughts. She was shot 3 times. She died instantly. Her father, Han Pan, was ordered to cover his head with a blanket. He was shot in the face and shoulder. The killers fled. Jennifer waited a moment, then wiggled her tied hands to grab her phone and dial 911. The performance began. But fate has a way of ruining perfect plans. The hitmen made a mistake, a messy mistake. They didn't check for a pulse. Han Pan survived. The bullet shattered his face, but it missed his brain. 3 days later, he woke up from an induced coma. The police were gentle. They asked him what he remembered, and Han Pan destroyed his daughter's life with a single sentence. He told them that during the invasion, he saw Jennifer talking to the men. She wasn't screaming, she wasn't crying. She was whispering to them like she knew them. This brings us to the interrogation. This is one of the most studied police interviews in modern history. Detective Bill Gutz uses a technique called the Reed technique. He befriends her. He acts like he's on her side. He traps her in her own lies. Jennifer didn't know her father was awake. When the detective finally dropped that bomb, that her father was alive and talking, Jennifer didn't cry with relief. She froze. You can see the gears turning in her head. Even then, she didn't confess. Her narcissism wouldn't allow it. She pivoted. She spun a new, even crazier lie. She admitted she hired the men, yes, but she claimed she hired them to kill her. She said it was a suicide for hire because she was too ashamed to kill herself. She claimed the hitmen simply got the instructions wrong and shot her parents instead. It was absurd. It was desperate. And the jury didn't believe a word of it. Jennifer Pan was convicted of first-degree murder and attempted murder. She was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. But the true sentence is the one her father has to live with. Han Pan lost his wife, and for all intents and purposes, he lost his daughter too. He lives alone now. He has requested the court to bar Jennifer from ever contacting him again.
This case is a tragedy of a fractured mind. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about the line between parental expectation and abuse. Jennifer Pan is a monster, yes, but was she a monster born or a monster manufactured by a lifetime of lies and pressure? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is Jennifer a cold-blooded psychopath who deserves to rot? Or do you feel any sympathy for the pressure she was under? This is Fractured Minds TV. If you want more deep dives into the criminal psyche, hit that subscribe button. We are just getting started. Sleep well.